We're gonna go through some things here. It's probably won't be too long, but we're just gonna get caught up. Now we get into the probably the busiest part the week from Tuesday to Tuesday, which is the 24th, the 27th, and the 31st. These are the biggest day is Tuesday, and those individuals. Someone was at the softball thing today. If you was at a game, you had a game, and it was at the last. What I mean is the last page of assignments. Whiteville, West Columbus, Union. I had a couple of individuals. They thought they didn't have games. They told me, and when I got back, they didn't publish them. Guys, the way the assignments are now, they don't. Each assignment goes out anyway, because we got a women's game, then you have a men's game, and that's for all of them, whether it's middle school, JV, or varsity. So there's about 200 and 200. It was 279, 35, 20. It's about 220 positions. So again, it was 178, probably 180. So about another 25, about 35 positions have been done. So I need everybody to check tonight. Everybody. It's going to be a couple of changes. I mean, that when I say that I will do, but it's also I'm pretty sure the school. I still got a couple of games that I know that's going to O'Neill has something. They had some TBD to be determined as far as the opponent. But if it goes like this rest of the school year has been going, for me, is that an official and or the school makes changes on the game day every single day. This one, but then we got a lot of moving. Some of you are working 3 games: the JV game, when it consists of 1 game, the JV boys, the varsity girls, and the varsity boys. All right, talk to the crew. Don't really want to call anybody out so Boston when it's not positive. So I'm going to be consistent with that. But Al McCray, always, he sends some out to the crew and everything. Some pre-game stuff, and he gives them some post-game. If you're going to have the JV game, let them know. Again, because a lot of times on the JV games, there's only 2 people working. But 3 people, we all got. That varsity game is 3 people. So somebody coming in late, just make sure when they come in, that it's part. You're going to be on the floor, just let them know. If you're the referee for the varsity game, if you're the referee on the JV game, that assignment, let the referee know that you have been assigned the JV game. So you know when you get there, you're already there on the floor. Coordinate the uniforms and everything else. But again, now I consider that. Like I say, it's a couple things. Sometimes I look at your blocks. If I don't know, you can work 3, either because your fitness or because your how early can you get there? Can you get there at 4? Can you get there at 4:30? Sometimes they say, now today, like just instance, Richmond is playing that game on Tuesday. They moved it up 30 minutes. Instead of going 4:36 and 7:30, now they're going 4, 5, 7. Because Pinecrest, I guess the team they're playing, they actually have some testing going on. And they say, and when something changes in that game, if it's game day, for the most part, unless it's canceled prior to 12 o'clock, I'll probably shoot you a text message so you'll know. But if you know it, just notify the crew. We know what we've done very well so far this year. We want to continue to do that. Okay. Now I'm gonna get on some other things, but everybody should have got a message from Cecil Monk. The supervisor officials put something out the other day. In fact, was January 20th. That was Friday morning. And I was unaware. He sent something to the supervisors, and then he said for us to send it out, but I talked to a couple of people, and you already received it. So I'm gonna kind of go through what his observations were. Then I get to what mine is and what we can do some things here just for our association. All right. One of the things, the first thing it is a continuous communication with your officials, going to see them work. Again, I've been out and saw, I mean, again, even during the Christmas holidays, I got some notes that I will be reaching out to some of you specifically about what I've seen. We got more people worked during the Christmas holiday and the King holiday than we've ever had before. In fact, what we did for the Martin Luther King, first of all, what we did for the Cumberland County Holiday Classic was their first day they had it at all 4 sites. Everybody worked 1 game. It's never been done before. We normally get 2 games and everything else, but everybody, I want to get everybody that experience. And plus, we had to use our dress attire as we were coming to the game. Some people did a great job. Some was in violation, but that lets me know who's following instructions and everything else. Because that's what we use in the tournament, the conference tournament, and also the tournament. That's part of our dress. But being on time and officiating the games, because that's, again, when you have 1 game, not that you pace yourself or anything else. That's what I expect. If you to get, hey, you leave it all out on the court. I mean, there's no. I mean, and when you're not hustling, and I think Mr. Mark mentioned that in his email, that sends a message to me. Either you're unfit or maybe you just don't care. The Martin Luther King Jr., we had games on that Saturday and that Monday. The first time we've done it, we had basically, we had at Red Springs, we had 5 games. We had 2 girls games and 3 boys games. We also had on that Monday, we had 6 games at Terry Sanford, and we also had a game at Community College at 2:00. We had a contest over there, and you were over there. You got to see anybody work during those. I said it was 2 days, that Saturday or that Monday. Some good feedback. I was able to see some games at Terry Sanford on both days. So just on the 1 game at Red Springs. So I got phone calls from both the tournament directors about the quality of officiating and how well that you all did. So kudos to those who worked. And like I say, they were very satisfied. And we did the same thing there. We had no crews that worked 2 games back to back. I mean, so again, that was a good thing. Don't get to do that a lot. It helps that we have the pay system we have now, and we paid all tournament fees on those, because the tournament fees is that if you have 2 games, it's just you're gonna get a varsity game fee for every game. And I didn't get any pushback from any of the tournament directors. In fact, I got a lot of positive comments about the professionalism and the way that you all did the games. So we had a lot of good games as well as the good crowds out there. But we'll go through Cecil Mark's email, then I'm gonna get some things and get back to this, what we do here in our association. And let's see, are they hustling? I've seen video where we didn't look good. I mean, most of that video that probably they send Mr. Mark, I'm unaware of any video that anybody from our association, any of our official schools have sent, but they have sent me some. And I got them the very first day, November 18th, we started the public school season. I got comments and things there, and I get that continually. And I'm debating. I appreciate Dan Jones and a couple other guys who want to do some evaluations and observations before the season ends. They're very patient with me. I'm gonna show them some videos and some different things. Hey guys, I use the videos to get better. People might do that to kind of point out what things we missed. And again, I'm more concerned about, hey, if it's missed, why are we missing it? It's because we're not moving to improve, we can get in a better position. We just, some things we pass on, we don't think it meets the quality of a quality call or a correct call. Those kind of things we'll get in. And I'm gonna hopefully sit down sometime this week prior to Thursday with a couple of people that volunteered to do some observations for me. But again, the video that he's not contacting me at all, but it is some video, quite a few coaches and ADs have sent some videos into the state office. He mentioned in his email about the 3 C's: concentration, consistency, and communication. When he did the state clinic, he talked about those things. And that's the concentration. You got to stay focused into the entire game. All right, the entire game. We sometimes get in the law, and that all it takes every game, with every game, contest, whatever level you're at, it's what we call a moment of truth. Something happens in the game. It could be in the first quarter, it could be in the fourth quarter, it could be in the first minute of the game, it could be in the last minute of the game. All right, so just maintain your concentration and be consistent throughout. I mean, again, crews, when you get together, I mean, you got a good pregame, and just stay with it. But that doesn't mean if you're missing something, somebody on the crew think you can do a better job. I often tell the coaches or the ADs when they contact me, what do they do at halftime? Do they make an adjustment? Do they just, if something's not working, do they continue to do it? Most of them say they make adjustments. I share that with them, that you all do the same thing. Okay. When we're going to adjust to do something because we're going to try to make what we're going to get better as the game goes on. So if we're missing something. So, but whatever you do, hey, stay consistent with that and communicate. Now I'm probably hitting on it, but I'm going to hit it right now. I was going to save it to later. But hey, no, we don't have crews. So some of you work with different partners every game. Some work with some people more often than not. But again, when you work with someone, I expect you to be professional during that time frame. I mean, if it's a middle school game, hey, for those 24 minutes, or it's a JV or varsity game, in which they play 32 minutes. Be professional during that time. If you have something, I mean, I've got several calls, and hey, I don't ever want to work with this person again. How do we block this official, this person over again? And you tell me that without mentioning the person. I expect you to, at least if you text me, know who your partner was, and be specific about it. Again, hey, you have a rule book. Some of the issues that you have as pertains to a application of a rule, hey, just when you get in the locker room and you get the classroom, whatever what level it is, they just pull out the rule book, look at the case book. Hey, everybody hopefully has a mentor or someone. Again, that's going to happen. We have a different opinion. We at different positions, we see things different. But if it's a interpretation, again, sometimes throughout the state, sometimes I've went to the supervisor officials and say, look, on this particular play, this is the way I see this. And he said, look, and he may tell me different. This is how I want this to be applied. And that's what we're going to do. Okay. So again, just saying I don't want to work with somebody. I try to do things based on proximity, schools, your schedules. I mean, because I get it, remember now, I get that from the coaches. I mean, ADs as well. But I'll share something a little later as it pertains to that. Ejections. He got ejections must be submitted in 24 hours or the officials will be suspended. When you have any ejection, because basketball is not like some other sports, specifically not like football, because we want to play one game a week. Played on Thursday, played on Friday. I mean, when you had one game a week, so we had some time there, we can do it. The ejections that we had on Friday, and we had several, they have to be in by Monday. All right. So again, I prefer, and that's what most are doing this year under Dragonfly, is you send me the narrative. And I say that on an email, basically what it is, and we'll talk about it and go there, because again, this year, and we found that out through practice, is that if they want to appeal that ejection, the region supervisor, before they appealed, they went straight to the NCHSA, and the supervisor official would contact me as a region supervisor, and then ask me to go back and talk to the officials, and they got any video evidence. All that stuff would go directly to the NCHSA. Now it's a little bit different. The protocol is the official notifies the coach that night of the ejection. The official will notify me prior to leaving the game, or when they get there, before they get in the car or something, let me know about it, and then at least I'll know about it. We'll discuss it the next day, most times on Tuesday, whatever day it is, and it goes in the next day. Because when you submit that report, the state, well, both ADs get that, and so does the regional supervisor. But it's a verification process from the school that they never did before. We didn't do it on the arbiter. It just went there, and the ADs just got it. Now they have to go verify. So they're doing, and normally when you submit it, the first thing they do is call me, except for when it's a coach, like it was on Friday. Sometimes they'll call me during the game, immediately after the game, according to how upset they are, and they'll tell me, but I always tell them, look, okay, they'll get the opportunity to appeal it, talk about it. But again, what I want you to focus on is that, hey, whatever you do during the game, you get the troublemaker out. And once they're out the game, most of the time, unless you know it's a DQ, I expect you to say it's an ejection. It's easy to go from an ejection to a disqualification, but it's hard to justify when you tell someone they have been disqualified. Now, later, we're going to tell them they ejected. One of the things, profanity. If this profanity is involved, profanity equals an ejection. So if you disqualify someone and DQ, and they go into the bench and they use profanity, guess what? Now they are ejected. Okay. Also, we had something happen the other day, and in his email, if a player or players leaving the bench doing an inappropriate action on the court, inappropriate meaning it could be a fight, some altercation going on, they are ejected. Someone sent me something the other day, quoted right out of the rule book, which I know understand it is, but in North Carolina, you enter the court, you stand up, if you leave the bench doing that type of action, when it's an altercation, you are ejected. Okay, that's what it is. I mean, that's good, but everybody need to understand that, because we have, and I'll send, we, aside from the rule book, we have the North Carolina High School Athletic Association handbook. All right, notify the scores table and the head coaches. Ejections are not silence. That those players are done for the evening. All right, again, they're done for the evening. If there's a player can stay on the bench. They're not to go leave that area unless they have another adult with them. Okay, so they can't go in the locker room. We've had that happen on several occasions, maybe just once in our association, where someone went in there and did some damage to the locker room and different things like that. But they don't have to leave the confines of the area. A player. Coaches must leave. Again, and have no problem with it. We have the last couple of coaches that have been removed from a game have taken entirely too long. I mean, it's just that clock. We know what's reasonable. Somebody, when we say, let's have a moment of silence, we don't wait a whole minute. It's about 20 seconds. No problem with you. But again, some people have kind of, you call it showing up, making a scene. Once they had to leave, way too long. I mean, they giving some instructions, but then they're talking to the bench. One guy ate some potato chips, went down there and bro hugged everybody going out and all that. Look, you have what we think is reasonable. I have no problem. We know what they do for substitutions. When somebody disqualified, we go what? Once we tell the coach, hey, timer, and that's. But I mean, if you do that, I mean, that should be no more than the same amount of time. I mean, they don't have to get up and just run out. But the expectation is, once you told them, hey, it'll be removed from the contest, hey, it's going to be time. And we start moving around for the technical foul, what the things that we have to do. You closer to that table, hey, we're not going to put the ball in play in that to that person has left the confines of the area. I mean, the only option they got, if they don't leave in a reasonable amount, they basically going to that contest is going to be, we're going to end it. We're going to terminate it. So before we do that, but we're not going to sit there and just let that person prolong it. So again, I have no problem somebody telling them later, hey, start the clock and just go. Again, we don't want to make the situation any worse. But again, that's why we ran into a situation for the first time during my time here is that we've had a coach removed twice in the same sports season. That means you get ejected in accordance with North Carolina High School Athletic Association, and the independent schools as well. If you get ejected twice in the same sports season, you're done for that season. And when I got the call that night, the next morning, I called over to, and they're meeting with the people within that organizational structure, the AD, the headmaster, and all that, to kind of probably talk about his employment there. Because again, we got a warning, we have a technical foul, and we have another technical foul. That's something that didn't just have one game, that happened twice. Like I say, their response, even if we'll misapply a call, or they don't see things the way we ruled on it, that doesn't call for someone to be disrespectful. North Carolina. I mean, that person that night got all three. They got a warning, see the first, and refute the second technical. So again, it is what it is. So again, just don't let your you shouldn't match that. It doesn't matter to us about the outcome of the game. We're just trying to get the calls right. But again, we want to keep the game in rapport. We don't want somebody to go out there and make a mockery of the game and stuff like that. I mean, so we're going to be very judicious in this, but at the same time, we're going to do our job. And like I say, I'll probably be speaking to it was a private school, so I'll be speaking to the individual in Concord that the NCISA concerning that. And if it is a private school, we don't do a report. All I get is an email. Once I get the email, I get with that athletic director. Then I call up to the independent school headquarters, because they $500 fine and they get a 2-game suspension for those coaches. So all we deal with is we just want to get the person out of the game, and then, like I say, whatever punishment they do, that's up to them. Only coaches may leave the bench to assist in case if there's a fight on the court or something. Only coaches, head coach, business coach, cannot be a player. Player stands up, enter the court. Again, that's an ejection. They got know your games, know what officials you're assigning to. This is more or less for the regional supervisor, because they just came to us, but I think he sent to everybody. Know what officials you're assigning to what games. Every game I can go through and I assign referees. Then I go through and fill the assignments. Now, again, talk during pregame. All right. At least have a general idea. We know in that 3-person, we got a referee, or U1, U2. That U1 has the home team, U2 has the visit team. When it's just two of y'all, hey, I got the referee has a home team, you got the visit team. Know what to do if we're gonna have some issues in the game. And I say that mass confrontation just happened. Hey, again, and I don't want to say, I look at the teams, I look at the records, a lot of times even down to the middle schools. I would go down, don't see a lot of the games, but I look at the records when I go to those local middle schools, and I've talked to some of the ADs and tell me, hey, what's the most competitive teams and what's the most competitive games? Hey, again, when I say be decisive, be confident out there, all right, but blow the whistle. Do not let the game through. All right. And that's not on you. I'll sign you if you sometimes some of the varsity officials, even the JV officials, that we only got 3 schools that we use 3 people, 3-person mechanics. That's 71st High School. They only have a JV boys, but we got Pinecrest and Jack Brett. You have someone that does a really good job, because this thing is about what development and people I want to challenge everybody here. But again, some people have given me some feedback with this person on the blow the whistle. This person don't know anything. They need a lot of work. That doesn't really help. I want you to be a little bit more specific when we know that. Hey, everybody that you work with, you should be able to give them one or two things. I want you to stop the clock. Hey, I want you to do this here, put the ball in play. Some people do the same thing. Hey, we want to hand it when we're in the front court stand. Every time we want to bounce it. I mean, some people don't look confident out on the court. All right. Help them with that. All right. And kind of give them feedback through the game. It's good. That's one thing about that halftime. And then when we try to push everything, and I need to do 10, 12 things, that's not going to help anybody. Okay. This I do not like saying, let's see, officials got a little bump in their checks. Now they need to earn it. Well, again, I'm giving you, for instance, I'm reading off his email. He's only got a couple more things here. But again, you're gonna hear that. I've heard that. And probably the biggest jump, let's say the bump is, the difference is in middle school pay. Tell you about middle school pay. Right now, for the Southeastern Association, we signed Sampson County, Hope, Scotland, Cumberland County. So we got outlines. Anthony Lemaine is on the phone, on the call. And then we got Jimmy Williams, he's a football official, but he does Bladen County and he does Columbus County. Jason Graham's a basketball official. He does the Richmond County area. Now, Cumberland County, the counties that I signed, the middle school was paying $76. They now pay $120 for a middle school assignment. Boys and girls. Those outlying counties, Robinson County, I think, pays $70. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony. $70, and Bladen County and Columbus County pay $75. That's $45 and $50 difference in a middle school game. Same rules. So again, when people paying you the difference, just like say, even for right now, JV high school, 2-person, the pay was, if there was one game, it was $64. If it was 2 games, you got $88. Now those fees are, for 1 game, you got $71, but for 2 games, you get $142. So 88 previously, now it's 142. If it's a 3-person JV, it was $80 for the 3-person, but that's for 2 games. For those same 2 games, now it's 130. It's a $50 there. And then 1 game was $59 for each. So the difference in the pay in the basketball, we just got a game fee for every game that we did. All the people, everybody got a 10% raise throughout. All the sports got 10% raise. But what we got a full game fee. There was no discount per se, no partial game fee if you did 2 games. And before, because again, a lot of people say we got the biggest raise. Well, we're the only sport that plays 2 varsity games back to back. Soccer with JV varsity, volleyball JV varsity. If you do varsity, but we get 2 full game fees, or you do 2 JV game fees. If you do a middle school game and a JV game, you're gonna get those game fees. But with that, anytime you get paid more money for doing the same thing, it's gonna be more scrutiny involved. So we want you to, like I say, but you want to feel like you earned it, that they can see the difference. All right. They don't have to like the calls you make. They didn't like the calls we were making prior when we get less money. But it is a difference where a middle school game pays 120, and this is 20 seconds, a little bit more than 3 weeks ago, that a varsity game was playing 105. So let's go out there and earn our money. The last 2 comments you got in there is, our student athletes deserve the best. That means serve the member schools. And the last thing is, I continue to appreciate you. So now I invited him. I thought Mr. Mark was going to come to the softball state clinic today, but he had something else on his calendar to do. But he's probably going to come down at some point. to see a basketball game, I'll probably give him the game first versus the crew. What I mean by that is we have some very good rivalry games. If you were in the game when Terry Sanford hosted E.E. Smith over there, that's probably the biggest crowd they've ever had over there. They locked the doors and some more people got in, locked the doors, some more people got in. But it was that's the first time they've done that. And if you came over there on Monday on King Holiday, the 16th, that's Monday, there was a couple of games that as well. So it's still some good basketball games that have to be played prior to the tournament. And some of those games are, it's been more so the games that have been, the biggest problems have not been on the court. It's been in the stands. We've had several instances of that. And we got some we're gonna talk about here before I hang up, before I end the call. Now, anybody had a question on Mr. Mark's email? I mean, I'll probably reach back out to him today, but I did tell him I was gonna go over his email. That's what we normally do when someone from that position, that office, sends some out for everybody, for the good of the group. I mean, it's good. That went out to everybody in the state. It's 9 regional supervisors. We all got that. And we normally do the same thing as far as we discuss what the supervisor officials, because he goes out in different areas and different times to see certain games and it's kind of pull that together and say, this is what he sees throughout the state. Anybody got any comments for what Mr. Mark put out? Okay. Now, the first thing, financial matters. Right now, I didn't put it out. I want to make sure it was working prior to saying anything publicly, as far as even in email. Right now, as of the 15th of December, every school in basketball, every school that the regional supervisor for, they have the ability to get paid every day. All right, no checks. It's going to be, they can do it. And I say, for me, I won't issue any checks. You're going to get paid on Dragonfly for the schools that I pay. That's been working since the 15th of December. They started, that's when they got approved that night. I did the first checks on the 16th, and I've done it up to today, being the 22nd. I think I did some yesterday. Now, if you worked the game in Alpha Academy on Friday last week, I got to make sure with them. I got to, because what it is, they paid 2 people on one day, and I paid some of the games, and which calls for an overpayment, but I paid some individuals, and they went in, they have the ability. In fact, they used their credit card to pay. So I thought they were going to continue, but they haven't. So I'm gonna correct that on tomorrow morning. But all the schools, the private schools, if you're either gonna get a check on site, and I said check on site, someone may give cash, you go to New Life, but New Life, Riverside, Columbus Christian, they're using Dragonfly Pay. Thing that I'm doing. All the other private schools, O'Neill, Fayetteville Christian, Fayetteville Academy. I think I gave you all on the list. Cornerstone Christian, Freedom. I paid the same evening, within 24 hours, because that's one of the things we push for as an ad hoc committee. We want to pay within 24 hours. There are schools that paid by check. They are continuing. Hopefully, it might be after the basketball season, but Bladen County, I think, is going to eventually go. They created a new position for county AD, and Miss Patty Evers, the coach of the East Bladen High School, also the athletic director. She's in that position. I think they're going to go to that. And the other schools, some in Robeson County, I'm trying to convince to do that. Once we get everybody on the same pay system, and whether it's private school, public schools, I think we'll be in a better position, because we still have people that when you go there, it's a change. They're gonna put the check in the mail. Some still haven't gotten it. We're still chasing checks, and we still sometimes misplace the check, wash it, all the different things. But again, for schools that I pay, you get in the check within that. Now, what happened is when that process was going on, as I was developing that and doing that, some people got overpaid. Some of y'all did a good job. You told me. Some didn't. Like someone told someone else, hey, if that was me, I'd keep it. And in this business, more so than any other, integrity matters. Character counts, okay? And some people asked that I they want to take out their pay the sign-in fee. I didn't do anything in December. All right, when I say December, hey, that was Christmas time. Even if you had overpayment, some people asked me, hey, well, some people notified me within a few hours of notice that they had it. If you had an overpayment, shoot me an email, a text message, knowing you overpaid. You got paid for this game. All right, and we'll get it straight. But that has caused sometimes when you look at your pay, you see a difference in basketball. I can send it out again, but in basketball, the game fees, a middle school game pays $60. A JV game is going to be 2 fees. If it's 2-person, it's $71. If it's 3-person, it's $65. And varsity is $77. Okay, now if you do a 2-person varsity, that's only a Cornerstone Christian, or I think we only have a couple of schools that are going to do 2-person. Hey, you're going to get a different fee. Now, what has happened? Like I got an email today, and someone talked to someone today. They still have the independent schools. When I give you a game, if you look at the game fee right now, it's going to say $69.50. It may say $35 for a middle school if it's in Hopton. What I do when I do the assignments, they might automatically populate. The day before the game, like today, I will go tomorrow. All the games that's going to be played on Tuesday. Yeah, it's going to play tomorrow. I'm going to finalize that tonight. I'll go adjust the fees. But the schools that I pay, I make the payment. So I'll make sure that they're going to be right. I check them, it's very verified, but I'll make sure, because no school really pays ahead of the time. And I know the schools that trying to put it in there, they think the fee's going to be wrong. Hey, I'll do that, not when the initial assignment goes. When we started this in Dragonfly in the fall, the amount wasn't even on there. This is a work in progress. Dragonfly is something that the schools, the AD, the coaches, the regional supervisors, and officials, we all doing this at the same time. So, and some of you all may notice, you now get game reminders. But again, when we started the basketball season, they wouldn't even put it, they wouldn't include the amounts in there. So if you get an incorrect amount, and it's the day of the game, then you have an issue. So if you get one that's got zeros, it's still, nobody works for free. I understand that. I had someone else on that pay. This is game fee. So again, if you get a game fee that's incorrect, like I say, hey, wait till, you know what I'm saying, wait till you work first. But I mean, you to go to the game, but on that game day, if it's wrong, definitely shoot me a text and email. Like I say, but before I pay it, I go in there and I verify it. Now, here's the issue we have a big problem with on assignments. Going to the right place. Someone had a game, 71st playing Jack Brett. The official, he goes to Cape Fear. Okay. Someone goes, tells me that morning, the game is at 4:00. And then when the partner calls me, I call him. He said, look, this morning, the game said 5:00. Now, if I change that game, only guy, school can't change it. If I change the game that morning, it's going to get you an email. I can't stop it. You may not have to go back and accept it, but you're going to get an email. I'm going to get an email. All right. We got to start showing up on time. Got to show up on time. We got to show up at the right place. All right. We got St. Paul's, St. John Paul, St. Patrick's. All right. Look at the game. Talk to your partner. Okay. Hey, know where it's going to be. I find out it's a Cornerstone somewhere in Laurinburg. We're not like, hey, both guys, hey, where are you? I'm at the game. I told them to come upstairs. There's no upstairs. In the wrong place. All right, things going to happen. Some good things about, hey, call early enough. Again, my responsibility is to have somebody on the court 15 minutes prior to the game. Okay, whatever time your pregame is. All right, but when you go, there's no excuse when you're going to be late to a game that I don't know, that I'm getting a phone call or I'm getting an email or text from the school. And again, and what you don't understand is that you may be late on Tuesday, and when I don't get a call and I get that AD, the next day they had another game. That's what happened here, and they were late back to back. I mean, there's no way. Hey, that's the first time I'm late, but guess what? That's the same school, and I didn't notify the AD neither time. So again, I'd rather be proactive and kind of let them know. I worked my first game last week because the school didn't put the game in. What it is, we have some teams that had start off with the JV girls. Now they only have a JV boys. So when they do the JV, instead of working opposite sites, they go to the same site. Instead of being the game at 6 and the varsity games are the same, 6 and 7:30. However, they don't go opposite sites. The JV games now goes to 4:30 that day. And again, this is well in enough time, and they didn't call. And sometimes they do the same thing. They call me right at 4:30. They call me instead of calling me at 4:15, 15 minutes prior to the game, that they don't have officials. But again, no one's has missed a game. We showed up late. And we say we don't play the blame game, but those are, I'd rather deal with those. Somebody at the school calling me because they didn't schedule than something that we did. But again, it's just no reason why you know you're going to be late to the game. And if you tell me you're going to be there at a certain time, I mean, just be honest. And when you say, I'm going to get there about game time, or, oh, okay, are you aware the game starts at 5? Yes. I mean, are you going to be dressed? Share all those with the partner. Because again, the game, because again, they want to start on time when we're late. But when the bus is late or when they're late, we're going to do what? We're going to stay there and we're going to wait. So again, I have no problem with that. I need to be one transfer that, not you. Transfer that message to let them know, look, okay, because the bus late or something that we still give them time to warm up and everything else because we're already there. But again, I don't want just to happen again, not just this week, but this season, where an athletic director is calling me because the officials, I mean, are not there. All right. Because again, it's too easy for you to make a phone call. Lateness, wrong site. We talked about the DQ and ejections. We got the reminders now, the blocks. Again, on blocks, if you want to block a school, sometimes I'm looking at it, I go in there and just understand that there'd be a conflict of interest. With conflict of interest, okay, but again, because someone else has to go there, but blocking off partners. Had someone call the other day, and they basically want to block their partner. They don't want to work again. Hey, if you have a problem with someone, you can't fix it unless you talk about it. Sometimes it don't work. I mean, if both people call me, I have no problem. There's no doubt that you know when it's an unpleasant experience. When enjoy, you never enjoy one another. Sometimes it's the game. Game can be tough, can be difficult. Things happen in the game. But again, have no problem. Again, had something the other night happened a little different, where I got a coach text me probably during the girls' game, and that's what they're gonna have the same officials for the boys' game. I'm in another game. Yes. And he said, I thought we agreed. And I know that was wrong because I don't agree with it. Hey, and it was the first time this official had that school this year. He actually texted me a picture. He took a picture of the official, sent it to me. All right. And in fact, 2 of the officials haven't worked this. I mean, some of you all had some school, you haven't worked a school yet. When it's varsity, it's JV or middle school. It's less middle school, so you might do that sometime 2 or 3 times. I mean, on the road. Again, I try to get the coaches and the AD, look, focus on the game. Focus on the certain plays, not on the officials who are making the call. All right. So it goes both ways. I don't want to get to where, hey, everybody feel like they need to block. Because I always ask them, how many times you saw him or her this season? Well, I think it's the first time. Okay. So what makes you think you'll see him again? I mean, just you don't get to just pick your officials. I mean, it's not like because if I let them start doing that, I think it's only fair for me to allow you to do that. And I had a conversation with an AD the other night and just look at I would ask for you to try to make the experience more pleasurable when they come there. Because somebody had a game. One of the officials sent me an email because they worked last week on the 13th and they hadn't got paid. And I said, I had to address it at the AD meeting. He said he thought he did, and he apologized. I said, but again, that's a small thing, but it's a big thing for some people. Greet them. You got a resource officer there. You pay him on time. You have some freshmen in there. Hey, at halftime, you have somebody to open the door. You escort them to and really, those are the things you should be doing anyway. But again, it was good. What I've noticed at the games, I'm checking a couple of books. Some people come down, they'll tell me about the foul count, different things. The books I'm checking, I don't see the game day administrator. Hey, put the game day administrator name in the book. Okay. It's no place in there that says game day administrator, but you put it either on the bottom, on the top, on the side. They got some referees, they got some slots up there. Put that game day administrator and have the visitor book, put that in as well. Because sometimes I check the visitors game day administrator book because we know we're gonna go back to the home book. But again, if you don't have to be the expert speller, make them put it in there, right? But I'm noticing that a lot more when I go and ask them about the game day administrator, is that they're not in there. Ensure they put the warnings in the book. Just don't walk around and say, look, hey, that's a warning for on that team, on that coach. Yeah, tell them to write it down. A lot of times you'll see they'll let you wear. The coaches that receive warnings all the time, they know exactly where to put it at, and they just start writing it. But again, make sure that goes in both books. Because what happens when the visitor put it in and the home book doesn't, you go over there, okay, you already gave him a warning. We kind of recall, yeah, I think he warned them. Yeah, what it was it for, was it a delayed warning? Was the team? When you do that, home book, well, we're going to refer to the home book because the coach that receives it, if they don't write it down. But again, I want it in both books. So they'll say, in the first quarter, 6:58, remain, team warning for what? Unsporting conduct. That's their warning. Not their first warning, that's the warning. So then if somebody said that's the first warning, no, we're just going to put warning, the time, and the team, the coach. Because if it's his assistant coach, it goes what? To the bench. All right. They're dealing with the spectators. Hey, let's 100% of the time, we're going to stop the game. If it's egregious, you think you need to stop it, know what the status of the ball, status of the clock, and have the game day administrator go there. We don't need to go look for them. And you kind of going to ask, look, somebody should know, hey, we call for the game day administrator, where they are, and then tell them and let them deal with it. Whatever outside of it. It's not on that basketball court. Because we can take care of the players and the coaches, those team bitches. And to include those people at the table. We've had somebody at the table. We've had a couple people at the table had to be removed. One was using profanity. One was, getting a lot of commentary on what was fouls and doing different things. And then I got a call from the AD the next day. And that person, hey, they didn't want to see the referee. But again, they're there as part of the referee team. Don't wait to get really, really bad. You see it coming there, just ask. Hey, I'm asking you to do this here. This is what I want you to do for the game. All right. Again, do a good job. Once you go over 10 minutes to check the book, do that. Spend as much time. You got about 6-7 real-time minutes to go and just let them know what your expectation is. Hey, I'll put this. This means a 3-pointer. Hey, don't blow the horn while the ball is live, unless we got a player playing with 5 fouls. Whatever you tell them, hey, that's what they should be doing. And once time they don't, hey, somebody need to acknowledge it. Okay, look, we spoke about this prior to the game. Hey, here's what I want you to do. This week, now, like I say, those individuals, a couple of them was on the call here now. They were not on the call earlier, but again, the last games were, because it was 200 some with all the different things went out. They paged it in, but hopefully everybody should have a game who's available on Tuesday. All right. I know it's going to be a couple of changes for sure. I mean, I don't know to what degree, but everybody should be. Some people have 3 games, and some have 2, some have 1. All right. But again, it's not as much on Friday, but it is. But like I say, the biggest day was Tuesday. This Tuesday, the 24th, and next Tuesday, the 31st. So I'm going to do that. Now, if you have inavailability, I got a note from Darren Deese on the phone. I mean, Ashley Cross sent something, Dean Tipton. If you have an odd circumstance that I'm gonna be here in a certain area, if there's something, but again, I'm gonna go and do that because those are 2 days. I'm gonna work around. I'm going to the 27th and then the 31st. That should be done before when you wake up in the morning. So don't think because you get the 31st, now I'll work backwards to the 30th. But some of that things is that trying to get people not to see the same teams, not to see teams back to back. Because now I'm going to see some of you all, thanks for that text, as you saying that you're available. Because everybody's not using the Dragonfly. When I say that, because I'm getting games and you reject it. But for the most part, I was about 175 slots went out. Only 1 person rejected the game. So still is a couple. I have 4 unassigned I got to put on theirs. And there's a couple of schools I got to talk to first thing in the morning and ask them, about. But if you go a far distance, if you're going a long distance and you fit, and I say, I'm looking at the matchups. I say, last week they kind of, I said, if I had a bracket, I would say they kind of messed it up because the crew that I had, I wanted to do, they came up and said, hey, we forgot we don't have the Terry Sanford Overhills game. And I signed that game, I'd have had to make so many different changes. And that's what I'm doing this year because I got to make sure, because again, because of all the matchups and because there's so many changes, again, it's unfortunate in a way because on any given day, I've never had everybody available on any given day. And that's all I'm talking about. Say we short official. Yeah, we showed them if everybody was available every day, we would have no problem. But again, when people close out for different valid reasons, working, can't get off on this day, it makes it difficult at times because we got coming in now to the home stretch before we get to the conference tournament. It's going to be even tighter because you got all those teams playing each other. And I need to, again, there's no place for me to send a bad official. If I had somebody, I don't have middle school officials, don't have JV, I just have officials. And hopefully you can work to not only the level that you think you can work, but I want to challenge you to get better, to get a tougher game. I mean, sometimes we've had the JV game I was in the other day, I was very impressed about the level of play. They're pressing, they're working hard. And some people here, again, some of you all have been able to call on at any time during the season. And I say short notice with this person went down, this happened. Again, if your status changed, I had an official told coming the other day, had pneumonia, and one guy said he didn't feel good. So again, when I went to put out games on Tuesday, I really don't know. Hey, are you good to go? I don't know. So again, I say I know some status is going to change because hey, I need to reach out to them and say, look, hey, I'm not trying to rush you back. I don't want, hey, if you didn't test it for COVID, you need to come off. But again, it's never going to be a point that I want to put somebody out there. Like I said, I still have that, the 3-person JV games. I still have that. I mean, I want to give the schools that's great training ground for me, and it's great training ground for you. And those people that, if you get the opportunity to work those 3, and I like that now because that's a good payday, but also it shows them that, hey, we got guys that are fit. Those that do work games on Saturday, well, we can work those games hard. When you do a JV boys, varsity girls, and a varsity boys game, that's a good workout. Now, some games I know because of the level of competition, that's not going to happen. If you got an E.E. Smith game and they playing Terry Sanford, I'm not going to put 3 people. The expectation is the the level of effort and stuff you got to put in that. To have people work 3 games back to back to back. No, but I got some games where I've seen we had some shutouts this year. We had some shutouts. I went to a game, the score was 52-0, final score. I mean, it's kind of hard to get a good assessment of how well the officials doing, because they walk in, they're doing this thing. Because again, I want to get you on some better games. That way I can better assess how well you can officiate. So, but I saw the teams and I kind of know which ones. So it's going to be some changes. Now, if you accepted the game, hopefully by midnight, I'll make the changes for Tuesday. They'll stay the same, but I know something's going to change because it's 2 games. I think I know. I'm not sure about. It's at O'Neill, and I think it's 1 game at Berean there, and there's a couple of guys, like I say, was sick on Friday, came off the game. Again, I just got what you say. When one person said, "Hey, I got sick," then they were already on the game, and guess what? I don't know if you're just going to wait and see how you feel the last minute come off the game. So again, I appreciate those that have texted me saying they're available for Tuesday. You're going to get the chance to work. And same thing goes, Friday's not as bad, but it's still about 200 slots here. I think it's 185. And I'll do those here tonight for tomorrow. But still, I still try to keep him. I don't want you to go back teams back to back. And some of the guys, you haven't seen the team. If you just saw them, I think you're going to have to see them in the very last week. That's why. Because again, I don't want you to go down there and see the teams the same thing. Now, middle schools, they're going to have playoffs. They have a play-in game in Sampson County. Cumberland County has a strength game. They had the same thing in Hope County. They actually have middle school playoffs. And that's how I signed. I signed the middle school game first, then I get the varsity, and then the JV. And if sometimes you got the varsity game, if you don't have, I will have those people who I think are fit enough to do the JV game. I'll add that. Anybody, hey, like I say, if your status changed, when you tell me you can't do a game till 4 o'clock, I mean, I hope that's what that means, 4 o'clock. It don't mean, 3:30. We got a couple 2:30 games this week. Somebody has already asked about those. But again, help the person. I mean, if they're not going to, I've offered to rise this week, last week, when I said that, if they can't get there, call early though. If you're going to be late and you know it, a beat is going long. I mean, most people here have got other jobs and stuff, but like let's look out for each other. Like I say, so far so good, and we want to continue that the rest of the season. I would say this here: we did have a meeting today, and our basketball official, Kenneth Pete Jones, most people know him as Pete Jones. He was our Distinguished Service Award winner. I'll send that out today. I mean, but hey, he's on the call. Pete came back last 2 years and doing basketball. He did it before, and it's good.
9 o'clock.
We got good officials doing a lot of good things. We recognize Rhonda Groves, also our Distinguished Service Award winner, state championship official. It's a lot of people doing a lot of good things out there. Sometimes we get caught up in, just like the officials, just like the coaches and the fans. Hey, we're only going to point out what people do, the negative. But I appreciate what everybody does. And like I say, when you make yourself available, it's not just, hey, it's good. I mean, it's well received that, hey, when you look around the state, the people canceling games and doing this, we can't play. And we got people out there. I mean, it's some instances we can do better, but for the most part, we look at the big picture. We've had a great season. I want to continue to do that. Anybody have anything for the group? I mean, it's some videos, there's some different things out there that I'll show probably over this week, next week. It's going to be something different this week. I will have somebody, probably Larry Morrissey or John Owen, someone that may not to be there, that I want you to call in case something happens, probably on Friday. I'll be accessible, but I'm very fortunate and blessed that my father turns 92 years old on Saturday. And so I'll probably actually be out of town on one of those days, but I have somebody here, and all I went in, and they'll be able to direct traffic, do whatever they need to do. But again, but we're the team. We're gonna look out for each other. So if something happens, and I'll let you know later in the week, one time frame. Look, if anything happens, we have no games on Saturday this week. But as we wind the season down, there's going to be some games, and the playoffs are going to start. Okay. When I say that about we don't have playoffs on a Saturday. Now we know everybody here lives in a community. They have basketball, some going out throughout the week, and some games go out just on the weekend. If you can help, if you can go out there and do something, I mean, not, somebody go, hey, this person wants me to work 6 games in a row, but if you can do something to kind of game here or there, and help those young. I know I went out and worked the first day, and there's guys out there, and they don't know what they don't know. They see it on TV, they think they're doing a good job, but you go out there, you can really help some of the paying people. I mean, Rhonda works for the Park and Rec, Mike Seal works for the Park and Rec. They appreciate, because that's where they work, that when we go out there and we give up one Saturday for 2 or 3 hours and work a game or two. And again, the same players, whether girls or boys, their younger sisters and brothers out there, and it does when they see you out there working. So if you have an opportunity, I don't know if Ernie Fisher's on the call or not, but I know he'll call, and yes, he does call late on Friday, first thing Saturday morning. But again, I hope to kind of reach out to him early in the week, and maybe he can say where those problems are, and then again, Sampson County, Hope County. All of I think he does just about all of it, but even does outline areas. But even over in the Anthony and Aaron Hunt have up there in Robeson County. As high school officials, we get the training, we know the mechanics, kind of help some of those other people who doing that. That's all I would say. I mean, because again, those players eventually they're going to get come in. They're going to be at the middle schools and high schools again, and some of those officials. Some of us started in recreation. That's all I have. I mean, I know everybody watching, trying to get to the football game and stuff like that. But again, that's one of the goals, a major goal that a hurdle I got past by getting all the pay done. And I hope everybody, whether you appreciate it or not, it's done. It doesn't bother me when people say that, because one other alibi, we made this transition. One of the schools that cut the checks, that actually do the checks, they paid the varsity game $144, 77 and 77. We're not going to talk about basic math, anything else, but we know 77 and 77 is not 144. That is 154. I never would have found out had not one of the officials told me about it. So again, if you get a check and let's cut the check, hey, you may want to, if you're the referee, look, just throw it in the bag, check it. All right. Now they're going to go back, and they did it for 2 games. All right. That means that's 10 checks. They got to go back, write $10 checks. So again, people make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But again, just don't take it for granted. Like I say, we all in this together. Again, I'm just glad some of those things that now. But in Wednesday of last week was the first day, I think, since I've been a supervisor, and everybody got paid on that day. We did it one day, we can do it 2 days. We do it 2 days, we can do it a week. We can do it the whole month. I'm trying to tell the other people that if everybody say, look, this is what we're going to do. When we leave the day, in between the girls' game and the boys' game, I'm going to pay. All right. And that school that you just text me, that's the school I'm talking about. He's aware, and I'm going to talk to that school. I mean, I appreciate that, guys. When I go there, it's better than 3 or 4 of you all sending emails and all that stuff. Hey, I go to them and I tell them, again, that was embarrassing, but I'm glad somebody shared it with me, because I can tell them, because they cut the wrong checks for 2 days in a row. They had 2 home games that week. They're trying to get caught up. Again, it's easier, I think, for everybody, is that if you can just pay on that I'll say that on Dragonfly. That's all I have. I mean, that's subject to your questions. You can text me. Anybody got anything good for the group? Again, everybody, if you don't have a game for Tuesday and you're available, Just say, I don't have a game. Okay, and I'm looking at it and you're not available till 7 o'clock. Well, he probably, hey, if you tell me that, tell me when you're available. Like I say, but the 24th, the 27th, the 31st. Now I'm gonna do the 27th tonight and probably go right to the 31st. So that don't mean on the 30th you're not gonna have a game. Okay, that's on that Monday. Again, let's keep up the good work and let's finish the season strong. That's all I have. Anybody? John, everybody signed in. I mean, we'll get it. We start off real slow. We got up to 94 people. That's a lot more than I thought we would sign on, especially tonight. I mean, some of you, it's been a long day out there in the rain.
Call me, Earl. Can you give me John?
Mike Garrett.